Hello, and welcome to Popcorn News. Something to watch while you eat popcorn. Much will seem strange here to new arrivals at Popcorn News. I cannot keep rewinding the tape for the benefit of people who just got here. But at my Erge the Moose blog website, you yourself can rewind the tape and view past webcasts. A newly conjectured Planet 9 traces a highly elongated orbit, reports John Austin of Britain's Express newspaper online. The claim by two Caltech scientists of the highly likely existence of Planet 9 caused bells to ring when the elongated orbit was mentioned. For I knew that Zecharia Sitchin had, back in 1976, theorized an undiscovered planet beyond Neptune that follows a long elliptical orbit, reaching the inner solar system roughly every 3,600 years.
Ever since, scientists have wondered if there might be yet another planet in our solar system, sometimes called Planet X. Now, astronomers have strong evidence for one. A planet roughly the size of Neptune with a mass 10 times the Earth's and a thick atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. This explodes our conception of the solar system because Planet X would loop around the Sun unimaginably far away in a strange elliptical orbit.
This is big. It is bigger than big. How big is it? It is so big, it makes Big Bird seem like a rubber duck. It is so big that the rain does not touch it. It is so big that its dreams are movies. Zecharia Sitchin, in his book, The 12th Planet, first published in 1976, described excavations at the Cave of Shanidar. At the Cave of Shanidar, evidence of habitation from about 100,000 to 13,000 years ago was found. 13,000 years ago would have been around 11,000 BC. The evidence showed regression, not progression, until about 11,000 BC, when, amazingly, there was a tremendous progressive leap forward in our so-called evolution. At around this same time, of 11,000 BC in the southeastern Anatolia region of Turkey, a site known as Göbekli Tepe had erected peculiar T-shaped pillars. The Göbekli Tepe discoveries have astonished the archaeological world, and you can see why from just one of the T-shaped pillars. And does the Göbekli Tepe pillar remind you perhaps of another pillar? One of the Göbekli Tepe pillars. One of the pillars from Stanley Kubrick's movie 2001, A Space Odyssey. And what do we know of this Stanley Kubrick, who showed us these strange pillars in his movie 2001, A Space Odyssey? A documentary film released in 2012, Room 237 interprets perceived hidden meanings in Kubrick's movies, especially in Kubrick's 1980 film adaptation of Stephen King's novel, The Shining. Various interpreters in the Room 237 documentary are overwrought. Sometimes they over-exercise their imaginations in the search for clues. However, some of the interpretations are fairly solid and worth considering.
And this deeper story has its birth, I guess, in the idea that Stanley Kubrick was involved with faking the Apollo moon landings. In fact, I contend that 2001: Space Odyssey, in part, was a research and development project for the Apollo footage that was shot. I'm not saying we didn't go to the moon. I'm just saying that what we saw was faked, and that it was faked by Stanley Kubrick. And I've had Hollywood special effects people from the 60s and 70s who were front screen projection experts tell me that I absolutely have nailed the Apollo footage as being the result of front screen projection. Things that one could imagine that Stanley Kubrick would have had to go through to fake the Apollo moon footage. And there in the movie, every time that Stanley deviated from the Stephen King novel, he deviated into those exact questions. You know, what was it like to make a deal with the U.S. government? What was it like to accidentally tell someone what you were doing and to watch them possibly have to suffer the consequences of your lack of integrity? What was it like to lie to your wife and tell her that you were doing one thing when you were doing another? What was it like when your wife found out what you were really doing? These are the questions that I had long before I'd seen The Shining again after maybe an 8 or 9 year absence. And I wasn't sure I was right for the first hour. I wasn't sure that I had actually, I wasn't sure if I was blurring the line between what I wanted to see and what I was seeing. And then at about 58 minutes in the film is the famous scene where Danny's playing with his trucks and he stands up and he's wearing the Apollo 11 sweater with a rocket taking off. Then I knew I had nabbed it. And then I started watching the film with an intensity that I don't think I've ever watched a movie before. And every line began ringing true.
Hidden clues in the Stanley Kubrick movies. Strange pillars found both at Göbekli Tepe and in 2001 A Space Odyssey. An undiscovered planet beyond Neptune that follows a long elliptical orbit, reaching the inner solar system roughly every 3,600 years. My friends, this is big. It is bigger than big. Thank you for watching Popcorn News.